offside. Now they go wide and off to Manson, and he scores. Southland's first try of the season.
Hello, I'm Tracy Pa with the Midday News. The Commissioner of Police, David Manning, has issued a warning that anyone who attempts to falsify a police document is committing a crime that faces a penalty of up to 100,000 kina and 25 years imprisonment. Commissioner Manning said authoring any electronic document with criminal intent is an offense under the Cybercrime Code Act 2016, and if the fraud is intended to undermine law enforcement and public safety, the full penalty will be sought in court. With the recent online circulation of a fraudulent document with the RPNGC and Interpol crest and fake signatures, the Commissioner called members of the public to be vigilant and not be tempted to circulate fake documents. He said anyone with any information on this forgery or have been victimized by this scam are asked to contact the PNGC cybercrime unit through their local police station. The Tiini Yanguam clan of 24 customary landowners of the Pogara Special Mining Lease have incorporated a land group entity under the Amendment Incorporated Land Group Act 2009 for the legal right to their land. The ILG will serve as the mouthpiece of the landowners. Legal advisor Edwin Laka said the National and Supreme Courts states for customary landowners group to incorporate such ILGs in order to have legal ownership over their land. He said a formal agreement must be established by the Minister for Mining to formally recognize the entity.
They have written a letter to the Minister for Mining, the Honorable Anopala, the Mineral Resources Authority, for the Minister for Mining to issue what we call an invitation under Section 3 of the Mining Act. There has to be a formal invitation issued to landholders. The ILG is now the landholder because under the definition of landholder under the Mining Act is someone or a person that owns customary land. And if we look at the ILG Act as amended, the ILG is now the landholder.
The Drikikia Cultural Show is planned for September 27 to 29 at the Mombol Showground, East Sepik Province. President of the Drikikia Cultural Show, Harold Melahi, said the event aims to revive their dying culture and promote peace and harmony in their societies. Amongst 20 cultural groups from East and West Sepik have been registered. Malahi appealed to business houses and government organizations to support the Drekiki Cultural Show. More than 216 cattle are now in good hands at the Laulakalana estate in Rigo District, Central Province. During the arrival of second shipment recently, Managing Director for Livestock Development Corporation Limited, Terry Coem, said he is aiming for 100,000 cattle to be brought to Laulakalana estate for breeding. Laulakalana Farmer Supervisor Kaylee Korowi shared that cattle numbers are increasing in the ranch since the first shipment back in December of 2022.
So when something come up behind them also you know sabe but At least mibla putim long quarantine kain also lo sampla days long sampla all nongut long inshallah belika monda mo ke mibla irausim long are lo solwara na long ia tu mibla putim inside long stockyard na after 4 or 5 days mibla irausim go long paddock nol ka around stop.
In regional news, Australia's Prime Minister is set to fire the status gun on the official referendum campaign and announce the date will vote on a voice to Parliament. South Australia has been chosen for the revive as it films as one of the 2 key battlegrounds.
The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, has touched down in Adelaide ahead of what will be a defining moment for his prime ministership. Calling a referendum to change the Constitution is something few Prime Ministers have done before him, and this announcement is the culmination of a promise Mr Albanese made on election night 15 months ago to realise the Uluru Statement from the Heart in full. It'll also signal a significant shift into all-out campaigning ahead of the national vote. The decision to announce here in Adelaide speaks to the state of campaigning for the Voice proposal, which must achieve a double majority for success. That means winning both the popular vote and at least 4 of the 6 states. South Australia is seen as a swing state in this campaign, so Mr Albanese may be thinking that a show of his support here could pay off on polling day.
I think a majority of Australians will come to an answer that there's nothing to lose here. Australians will have the opportunity to say yes to recognition, yes to listening to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples about matters that affect them, in order to say yes to getting better results.
While tomorrow's event could be seen as a relaunch for the Yes case, the No side are still yet to announce whether they plan to hold a formal launch for its side ahead of the national vote, now only expected to be 6 weeks away.
According to the Virgin Airlines, if more players were allowed in the market, the federal government and Qantas are aligned against Qatar Airways increasing flights to Australia. The Virgin boss says it's not in the national interest.
An extra 21 routes to Australia.
That would bring in an additional 1 million seats into the system, pushing down the cost of airline tickets, particularly on that European route.
But the federal government blocked it with Qantas's support.
Now that's a real concern because obviously if you have more competition then it brings prices down. So this sounds like a deliberate attempt to bolster up Qantas and keep prices higher for longer.
Virgin, which has an international partnership with Qatar, has slammed the move. The CEO, Jane Herdlicker, says only 2/3 of the seats lost to the pandemic have come back.
And 1/3 of those seats are not yet back. And so if we get those seats back, airfares will be as low as they possibly could be. And, you know, I'd guess that would be a reduction of at least 1/3, maybe 40% reduction in airfares.
But facing accusations of protectionism, the Prime Minister's not budging.
Qatar can fly in to Adelaide, as many planes as they like, as big as they like. They can fly in other planes, which are bigger planes, that bring in more people.
Nor is he taking responsibility.
Well, it's not up to me, it's up to the Transport Minister who's made the decision.
Qantas has also come under fire for sitting on nearly $500 million in COVID flight credits, which will convert to profit if customers don't redeem them by year's end.
People have booked flights and paid money. They should either get access to another flight at another time, or they should receive their money back.
Qantas declined to comment further.
In sports, Fiji defeated England for the first time ever by producing 3 sensational tries from nothing and winning 30-22 in a Rugby World Cup warm-up at the dumped Twickenham, England. Fiji lost all 7 previous matchups since 1988 by an average score of 41-16, but spotlighted its threat to go well at the World Cup by cleaning up all of its past wickedness against England. Discipline, set pieces, fitness and goal kicking. Here are the match highlights.
Here for Johnny May, takes off towards the line, and Johnny May rub with them under, showing Johnny May a clean pair of heels, and then the offload, and with 14 men on the pitch for the second time this afternoon. Oh, he's off and running, and look at Fiji here, Ambossi, Lines in the London newspapers, it's popped over the top, that's one to deal with, and Marcus Smith is in there! And England have bounced straight. Mitchell again, out to Ford, this time in the corner.
All going, there's overlap here.
Miller, it's floated out, and this man has been dangerous all day. Oh, and the pass is freeze. Kuraboli.
Lawn bowls are back with the Gold Coast hosting the sport's top competition. But as the World Bowls Championships finds new popularity across countries, you wouldn't expect competitors of all abilities are also making their mark.
It's a sport of precision and strategy, but don't call bowls quiet. Over the next 2 weeks, 44 countries are competing at the World Bowls Championships on the Gold Coast. It's the biggest bowls championships ever held, with the sport gaining popularity across Africa and the Asia Pacific. Bhavan Balentra hopes to take lessons home to Botswana.
It's just a whole nother level compared to where we're from. We'd have a club with probably 40, 50 members, where you guys have got thousands of members in a single club.
Renan and Maria Evangelisti took up bowls as a hobby during lockdowns 3 years ago. Now they're representing Brazil.
Everybody can play with old people, with young people, and that's accessible for everyone.
For the first time in the championship's 57-year history, players of all abilities are competing.
It's addictive. And I think from a disabilities point, it's good. You're not given a handicap sort of thing, because you can play anyone really, so it's good to be on a level playing field.
The last championships were held in 2016, postponed because of COVID. Now, 7 years later, there are more than 540 competitors ready to go.
We're going to go back with a hell of experience that we've gained from all of this so far.
And of course, it wouldn't be lawn bowls without finishing the game with a beer.
This ends the Midday News. Join us at 6 for more.